Myst, Might, Mayhem. By Han Jung-Wheolya. Chapter 492. Final Chapter. Part 1. A single black line appeared between the spheres of light that were continuously being created, rushing in, and exploding. A sharp blade crossed space, and in an instant, the right arm of the golden heavenly king holding the sword of Aiden was cut off. Swoosh! The golden heavenly king's eyes widened, not having realized what had happened until his arm was severed. What on earth had just occurred? The sharp energy didn't fly through cutting the spheres of light, but crossed space directly. Because of this, he only belatedly realized he had been cut. Kook! The golden heavenly king's brow furrowed at the tremendous pain that came. Even so, he didn't let out a scream. Having lived for an unimaginably long time that humans couldn't even imagine, and having gone through countless wars, he could endure this level of pain. However, I need to retrieve the sword. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thanks to losing his arm, he had dropped the sword, and the gravity field was deactivated. Because of this, even his attempt to open space and pull in meteorites was halted. He needed to retrieve the sword again and put it back into orbit. The golden heavenly king tried to raise his divine power to pull back his severed arm and the sword. It was at that very moment. Crack, 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 crack. As the spheres of light bounced in all directions, someone burst out from between them. It was Mok Jaehyun. You bastard! The golden heavenly king tried to create more spheres of light to prevent Mok Jaehyun from approaching. But at that moment, whoosh! Formless swords appeared around Mok Jaehyun, rotating fiercely and deflecting the incoming spheres of light, preventing them from approaching. Panicked by Mok Jaehyun's approach, the golden heavenly king, unable to control his divine power, tried to move himself to retrieve the sword. As they entered the realm of ultra-high speed, their movements slowed down infinitely. Just as the golden heavenly king's hand was about to touch the sword, at that very moment. Slash! Oh no! A red line appeared on his outstretched left arm due to the sharp blade crossing space. As the sensation in his left hand disappeared, the light from the ring he was wearing quickly faded. Then, rumble, 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 rumble. The space that had opened high in the sky closed in on itself and shut completely. Along with this, the heat and pressure that had been crushing the earth disappeared, and those who had been pressed down by it looked up at the closed sky and cheered. Wah! They had been dumbfounded by the falling stars. However, when Mok Jaehyun prevented it, regardless of whether they were righteous or evil, they couldn't help but shout with joy. Mok Jaehyun, you really? Mu Yutian, too, couldn't contain his excitement as he watched this scene with a trembling heart. In the past, regardless of how it happened, he had thought his half-brother had entered the heaven and earth society and abandoned righteousness, treading the path of evil. But all of that was meaningless now. Before his eyes now stood the world's greatest master and an unparalleled hero. Heavenly demon! Heavenly demon! Heavenly demon! Everyone called out to him with reverence. Only he could kill this transcendent being who called himself a god. That's why they became one in their wish. As if hearing their wish, Mok Jaehyun's form rushed towards the golden heavenly king, who was trying to create distance by flapping his wings, flustered after losing even his left arm. How can this be? The golden heavenly king found it hard to bear, not from pain but from humiliation. If it had been before he lost his core, it would have been slightly less shameful as it was done by the absolute being who had been opposing him for ages. But now it was completely different. He had lost his core and completely lost his power as the demon king, and even had his divine artifacts stolen by a subordinate at his side, falling to the human realm and becoming human. How dare a mere human? How dare he push me this far? He couldn't bring himself to accept this. Gore. Therefore, he finally had to make the choice he had been avoiding the most. Thump. He had thought he could easily kill him with just the power of his divine artifacts, but that wasn't the case. 100 years ago, when his core was damaged by him, he had entered a recovery period after suffering critical damage, but only 30% had been restored. That's why he had to avoid drawing out the divine power of his core as much as possible, but now he had no choice. Pop 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 pop. Cough. As he drew out the divine power of his unrecovered core, blood spurted from his mouth. However, as his core moved for the first time in 100 years, divine power circulated throughout his body, and tremendous power surged. Swoosh! Swoosh! The circulation of divine power instantly restored his severed left and right arms. As his arms regenerated, the golden heavenly king stopped fleeing and flew towards the rushing Mok Jayangan. If he had to go through a long recovery process again, he might have to give up his position to someone else, but he was determined to kill him here and now. Slash 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 slash. At that moment, numerous trajectories of black lines embroidered a magnificent pattern in the air. Shudder. The golden heavenly king's pupils shook frantically. He couldn't see the trajectories of the sword this guy was drawing. His eyes were filled only with lines cutting through the air, and he had no way to deal with it. Whoosh! The golden heavenly king hurriedly wrapped himself with his large golden wings. These wings were the crystallization of divine power along with his core. When concentrating divine power, these golden wings boasted a hardness far superior to even the armor of Aiden. But slash 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 slash. As countless nerves connected to each wing were all cut, whoosh. Feathers split into thousands of pieces scattered in all directions. In thousands of years of war, he might have suffered small wounds, but he had never lost his wings. But now, those proud golden wings he boasted of were being destroyed. This. Unlike his physical body, this couldn't be restored in a short time. But it didn't end there. Slash. Mok Jayangan's evil sword, evil commandment sword, stained black, cut off his right arm, and simultaneously, his left fist was planted in his abdomen. Thud. Penetrating force coming through the fist. At this energy, the golden heavenly king, who had been enduring the pain until now, opened his mouth. Kook. Not stopping there, Mok Jayangan's elbow struck his chin upwards. Crack. Kook. With the sound of his jaw breaking, his head shot upwards. It's far from over. Flinch. At Mok Jayangan's voice ringing in his ears, the golden heavenly king's face turned pale. He didn't know exactly what he had done, but the fierce and sharp energies coming through each of his strikes were tearing his insides apart, giving him pain he had never experienced before. No. Goo. The golden heavenly king raised divine power in his left hand, trying to create a whirlwind of light to deflect Mok Jayangan. However, the left arm he extended, slash, was cut off just like that. Aarg. Mok Jayangan grabbed the cheeks of his face as he let out a scream of pain. Grab. You'll need to stay conscious until I chew and eat every bit of your flesh, bone fragments, and every point of your internal organs. You. At those words, the golden heavenly king felt a chill down his spine. No, his entire body trembled with goosebumps. This guy was different from the demon king he had known. Gone was the figure full of dignity despite being of the demon clan, replaced by someone unspeakably cruel and vicious. Shall we start with those eyes first? Mok Jayangan reached out his fingers towards his two eyes with an incredibly chilling smile. But it was at that moment. It would be best to stop there, incarnation. Mok Jayangan's hand stopped midway at the will echoing in his mind. As it wasn't transmitted from very far away, Mok Jayangan could immediately pinpoint where it came from. It was in the direction of the 10,000 Great Mountains. Mok Jayangan slowly turned his head. As he turned his head, Mok Jayangan's two pupils shook. Above the 10,000 Great Mountains, the figure of someone with a face full of scars was visible, and he could immediately recognize who it was by the third eye on his forehead. It was Mok Gon. Did he change bodies? Mok Jayangan had thought that Mok Gon, who had been forcibly expelled from the Great Strength King, would have been blown apart by the gravity field created by the Golden Heavenly King. Despite his numerous evil deeds and madness, did he possess some kind of heavenly luck? He truly had a tenacious life. Grip. Strength entered Mok Jiangun's hand holding the evil sword, evil commandment sword. This was because of the two beings held in both hands of Mok Gan, who had a face full of scars. In his left hand was Chong Ryong, who had become faint after exhausting most of her spirit power, and in his right hand was Wai So-yen, who seemed to have lost consciousness and was hanging limply. Finally, both Wai So-yen, the soul, and Chong Ryong, the spirit, had fallen into his hands. Gore. Killing intent rose fiercely in Mok Jiangun's eyes. He wanted to cut off his neck right away, but the distance was too far. It was a distance that his mind sword couldn't reach and was difficult even for the bullet sword force, probably a result of careful calculation. Mok Jiangun's prediction was accurate. Kuha-hee-hee. Mok Gan, bursting into laughter filled with madness, couldn't hide his excitement. He thought everything had come to naught due to numerous variables, but in the end, they had fallen into his hands. Then a voice echoed in his mind. Well done. Half of the main body is down there. Shut up. From now on, I'll handle this myself. You just need to follow my will. Do as you please. Your judgment has surpassed mine. The yielding will was Mok Gan's, and the strongly rejecting will was Bai Yonghian's. Bai Yonghian's will wasn't interested in things like the annihilation of the Central Plains martial world or the exclusion of humans for the sake of the Heavenly Clan, and had only been waiting for this moment. Mok Gan, no. Bai Yonghian looked at Chong Ryong with a smile tinged with madness and said, now we can go back to how it was before. So we'll. Before? Huh. Chong Ryong had no more words for his madness and obsession. She was just sorry to one person. Mortal. Chong Ryong looked at Mok Jiangun and shook her head. She hoped he wouldn't make a foolish choice because of her alone. Please don't do that. If he did, she wouldn't be able to bear it even until the moment of her annihilation. She firmly resolved in her heart. Although her spirit power was almost exhausted and she was at a stage where she could barely move, she planned to seize the one chance. Swoosh! Chong Ryong looked at Wai So-yen, who could be called the body containing her soul. Bai Yonghian would surely try to use the forbidden technique to make her and Wai So-yen's body one. She planned to aim for that moment and perish together with her soul. I will absolutely not hold you back. Although you will be sad, if I can save you, I can vanish with a glad heart. As expected, Bai Yonghian began to chant some kind of spell. It was clearly the forbidden technique of the wicked granny that dealt with souls and spirits. It seemed he was trying to merge the soul and spirit into one right away to achieve his goal. Swoosh! Bai Yonghian brought himself close to Wai So-yen's body. Chong Ryong waited with tense eyes. Just once. She had to aim for the moment when she came into contact with the soul. But then Bai Yonghian, who had been chanting the spell, stopped his spirit body right in front of Wai So-yen and said something that surprised her. I won't let him take you away 3 times. Chong Ryong's 2 pupils shook. 3 times? Could it be? Her eyes turned to Mok Jiangun, who was not taking his eyes off her from afar. Then. Whoosh! Ah! Spell power burrowed into the back of her spirit body's neck, and soon completely stiffened her spirit body. To the surprised Chong Ryong, Bai Yonghian grinned and said, if you were planning to do something, forget it. I've been waiting for this moment alone for 100 years, do you think I'd let my guard down so easily? With those words, Bai Yonghian began to chant the spell again and tried to insert Chong Ryong's immobilized spirit body into Wai So-yen's body. Swoosh! Chong Ryong's eyes reddened. She had just realized something, but she couldn't forget everything like this. However, her spirit body was already slowly seeping into Wai So-yen's body. Bai Yonghian smiled meaningfully as if he had won. But suddenly, Bai Yonghian's expression contorted. What is this? Stab. At that moment, Wai So-yen's eyes flew open, and she tried to stab something into Bai Yonghian's heart. Bam! Because of this, Bai Yonghian let go of Chong Ryong and hurriedly grabbed Wai So-yen's dagger. Then he shouted in an angry voice. How dare a mere vengeful spirit be inside this body? You should have checked, shouldn't you? What? Grab. Why So Yen? No, guard Go-chan, who had entered her body, used all his strength to try and stab the dagger into Bai Yong-hyen's chest, but it was useless. From the start, the difference in power was too great. Enraged at being interrupted for a moment, Bai Yong-hyen, clang, instantly broke the dagger, then placed his hand on Wei So-yen's chest and chanted the demon resistance technique. Then, whoosh! Go-chan's vengeful spirit in Wei So-yen's body was forcibly ejected. Ugh! For a moment, Bai Yong-hyen, who was about to annihilate Go-chan's vengeful spirit out of anger, seemed to realize something and remembered he had dropped Chong Ryong's spirit body, so he reached his hand downwards. It was at that very moment. Slash! His arm was cut off, and someone soared upwards. It was Mok Jiangyan. Not missing the small gap created by his spirit servant and vengeful spirit guard Go-chan, Mok Jiangyan, who had flown here in an instant, caught the falling Chong Ryong. Chong Ryong spoke in a trembling voice to Mok Jiangyan, who was holding her and soaring upwards. Mortal, no, you. Before she could finish her words, Mok Jiangyan gently caressed her cheek and spoke. It was all me. At those words, tears poured from Chong Ryong's reddened eyes. Chapter 493. Final Chapter. Part 2. It was all me. The flowing tears cannot be contained. Sob. You. Swoosh. Woong 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 woong. Countless memories flooded in through Mok Jiangyan's palm, touching Chong Ryong's cheek. Her red eyes, shedding tears, wavered. Memories were being painted before her eyes. Why do you entrust this to me, a mere human vessel? It's not mere. Isn't it shining even more brightly? Someone once said, it shines brighter because it's short. We can live like that too, can't we? Her brightly smiling face. That was my everything. Born as the Demon King, virtually immortal, I longed for a human life that was fleeting yet shone brighter than anyone else's. Swish 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 swish. The black flame was gradually getting smaller. It was dying out. It truly was long and arduous. Stop. There's no need to completely dissolve your will into me like this. No, why are you trying to disappear? I'm not disappearing. There's no need to think like that. I am you. You are me. In the end, we are one. As the black flame reduced to the size of a finger, even the voice was gradually becoming fainter. Stop. Stop it. Didn't you want to meet her? Didn't you want to speak to her every moment you awoke? I could understand because all the memories had been assimilated. In those few moments of awakening, he repeated the same words dozens, hundreds, thousands of times in his mind. I missed you so much. My one and only bride. Yet, he never uttered these words aloud. I knew well why he did this. It was to leave no lingering attachment. If even a hair's breadth of attachment remained, he might want to give up on assimilating with me, the human vessel. The beautiful and shining story of So-woo and me ended then. Now, it's the story of Chong Ryong and you. The dying ember. In the ember, he depicted his meeting with her in a flash. And he recalled his bride, who was so beautiful, for the last time. She was beautiful. So beautiful, like a single red peony. Whoosh! The ember thus extinguished and scattered like a heat haze. As the memories contained in the thoughts were engraved as if unfolding before her eyes, Chong Ryong shed tears even more sorrowfully. I knew. You knew. 100 years ago, after breathing her last, she became a vengeful spirit, fixated only on revenge. To her, who was desolate and filled only with darkness, mortal started as someone in a similar position of shared suffering. But before she knew it, he became a ray of light, and gradually, she came to hold him in her heart. She thought she would never hold anyone in her heart again. But she couldn't hide that emotion. That's why you became mortal as a human, not your former self. Yes. We'll be together. Even if it's just for a fleeting moment. Now I think I understand why he said such words. He truly regretted it. All those moments. The shining story of Soul and me has come to an end. Yet, you left without leaving even a trace of lingering attachment, holding in your heart the brief but beautiful sparkle of our time together. No, you became one with him. His voice from that time faintly echoes in my ears. I missed you so much. My one and only bride. Aya. Chang Ryong wailed sorrowfully and tightly embraced Mok Jaehyun. I missed you so much. Just once, even if it's just for a moment, I thought I'd be willing to disappear forever if I could see you just once. Grip. She embraced him tightly as if he might disappear somewhere. But at some point. Swish 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 swish. Her spirit body tried to pass through Mok Jaehyun's body. Mok Jaehyun's pupils shook. Although her spirit body had become faint due to the depletion of spirit power, he thought there was still some left, but her spirit power was rapidly being exhausted. Chang Ryong? Why? Creep creep. He could feel spell power. Then, Mok Jaehyun's eyes caught sight of Mok Gon, no, by Yonghyan, forming a hand seal with one hand. The surrounding area for dozens of Jang was filled with his spell power. Ugh. Ma Master. Guard Go Chan, who had tried to move Wei Soyun's body, which was the soul, groaned in pain as his spirit body became faint. The spirit power of the vengeful spirits was being rapidly depleted due to the wall created by spell power. Whoosh! Intense light flowed from Mok Jaehyun's eyes. At that moment, Bai Yonghyan's face, who was chanting a spell while forming a hand seal, contorted in pain, and fresh blood spurted from his mouth. Pooh! This was because he had been struck in the heart by the mind's sword, the sword intent. Mok Jaehyun's mind's sword, having regained his original memories and become stronger in will than anyone else, was incomparably stronger than before. However, cough cough. He endured the pain of his heart being torn apart and continued to chant the spell. Bai Yonghyan's face was contorted with pain, but his eyes were filled with anger and madness. Swish 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 swish. Chang Ryong. It was useless to try to hold her with spell power. Chang Ryong's body, which had become faint to the point of disappearing completely, passed through Mok Jaehyun's arms and fell downwards. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Soldier. Fight. Split. Formation. As Mok Jaehyun chanted the spell along with the hand seals of the 9-word revival technique, 4 pillars appeared around the falling Chang Ryong, creating surfaces that contained her. This was the 4 peaks linking technique. Gore. Whoosh. Mok Jaehyun's form reached in front of Bai Yonghyan in the blink of an eye. Nevertheless, Bai Yonghyan continued to chant the spell without even thinking of blocking or avoiding. His eyes, filled with madness, were saying, "If I can't have her, I won't let anyone else have her either. Even if that meant Chang Ryong's eternal annihilation." Whoosh. Shudder. In response to his unceasing madness, Mok Jaehyun split Bai Yonghyan's body in half with a single stroke filled with tremendous killing intent. Slash. Crack. Only when he was cut in half did Bai Yonghyan's mouth stop uttering spells. Slash 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 slash. As if this wasn't enough, Mok Jaehyun instantly created hundreds of trajectories, annihilating Bai Yonghyan's body without leaving a single piece. Still not satisfied, Mok Jaehyun was about to fly towards the falling Chang Ryong. But then... Swish 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 swish. Something faint was visible in the blood scattering like dust. It was a vengeful spirit. As Bai Yonghyan, his face still full of scars, appeared as a vengeful spirit, Mok Jaehyun grabbed the neck of his spirit as if pleased. Grab. He had decided to annihilate even his soul, preventing him from entering the cycle of reincarnation. Then, as if trying to resist, the vengeful spirit Bai Yonghyan reached out his hand towards Mok Jaehyun's face. To this. Disappear. Whoosh. Bai Yonghyan's spirit body began to scatter due to demonic energy and spell power. But the expression of Bai Yonghien, who had just reached out his hand towards him with an angry face, was different from before. It was a face as if he had let go of everything. At that moment, Bai Yonghian's unconscious thoughts flowed in through his spirit body. Slash. Slash. Stop. Please, stop. Bai Yonghien was suffering as he created self-inflicted wounds, cutting his own face with a dagger. He was trying to stab the eye on his forehead with the dagger, but having lost control of his body, he ended up cutting his face. Please. Please. The incoming thoughts of that guy. They were miserable memories of trying to take his own life or trying to remove that guy whenever he briefly escaped Mok Gon's control over the past 100 years. He constantly fought between the inherent madness and reason within himself. However, all those results were nothing but the encroachment of madness. Swish 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 swish. Having read these thoughts, Mok Jiangnan's eyes became strange. So you two were unable to escape from madness due to Mok Gon's control. But the reason he pretended to attack him without any explanation even after escaping that control when he became a vengeful spirit was, I must be annihilated. I must disappear as evil until the very end. His thoughts wished for his own annihilation. It was because only by disappearing as the root of evil until the end could he completely wash away her resentment. Swish 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 swish. As if knowing that Mok Jiangnan had read his thoughts, the scattering and disappearing vengeful spirit Bai Yonghien shook his head with a subtle look. It seemed as if he was asking not to tell her anything. And so, the vengeful spirit Bai Yonghien completely scattered and even his spirit body was annihilated. Even if he tried to do something for her at the very end, Mok Jiangnan felt no sympathy for him. After all that madness had originated from him. Whoosh! Mok Jiangnan moved the 4 peaks linking technique to the ground, dispelled it, and then checked on Chang Rayong. Having become completely faint and on the verge of disappearing, she spoke with difficulty. Bai Yonghien? He. At her question, Mok Jiangnan was about to say that he had annihilated him but then hesitated. Her spirit body was already on the verge of disappearing. If he were to inform her of the annihilation of Bai Yonghien, who could be considered the subject of her resentment, what would happen? If she were to attain enlightenment like this, the worst situation could occur. Wei So-yen, who could be considered her soul, had already escaped even the cycle of reincarnation, so she could be annihilated just like that. What should I do? He who had been unhindered in everything, at this moment, couldn't decide anything. She had already exhausted most of her spirit power and was on the verge of disappearing. He couldn't take risks in this state. Ha! Master. At that moment, Guard Go-chan, who had protected Wei So-yen's body until the end despite facing the crisis of his spirit body being annihilated, approached. Seeing Wei So-yen being carried on Go-chan's back, Mok Jianggnan's eyes wavered even more. It was because he recalled the conversation he had with wicked Granny Cheol Surian when he obtained the forbidden technique that could unite soul and spirit. Is it possible to make the spirit the main subject and unite it with the soul using the forbidden technique? The spirit as the main subject? Do you think that's possible? The spirit is like a strong thought from one's lifetime. It scatters and is washed away on earth when the soul goes through the process of reincarnation. In the end, the soul becomes the subject of reincarnation. Then what happens when the soul and spirit become one? Is everything related to the spirit completely washed away? Yes. That's the principle. Grip. Strength entered Mok Jianggnan's clenched fist. Drip. His nails dug into his flesh, and blood flowed. At the end of their journey, they had come to know each other's existence, so why did it have to end like this? It would be right to unite her soul and spirit to allow her to live, but if that happens, due to the cycle of reincarnation, everything of Chang Rayong, the spirit, would be washed away. She would no longer be Chang Rayong he knew, but her previous life. Swoosh! At that moment, despite being unable to make contact due to her faint spirit body, Chang Rayong reached out her hand towards Mok Jianggnan's clenched fist. With a look as if she knew everything, she moved her lips, saying it was all right, and smiled with tears in her eyes. Chapter 494. Final Chapter. Part 3. Ugh. The Golden Heavenly King, who had lost all 4 limbs and both eyes, let out a groan of pain. Even during the war 100 years ago, he had never been injured to this extent. The humiliation and pain were unbearable. Damn it. He had tried to escape from him when his creation, Mayhem, drew his attention. He thought it was certainly possible since his attention was divided, but in that fleeting moment, not only did he gouge out both of his eyes, but he also stabbed his sword at the location of his core. Cough cough. Perhaps it was to deal with him quickly to prevent future troubles. However, there was one thing that he didn't know. Because of the damage to his core 100 years ago, he had moved its location slightly lower than the center of his chest, just in case. Thanks to this, although the upper part of his core was blown away, it avoided complete destruction. However, twitch twitch. The damage to his core, which was already not fully recovered, made recovery even slower. If it weren't for that, he would have quickly restored his arms, legs, and eyes, but now it was overwhelming just to recover his internal injuries caused by his blade energy. It was utterly miserable. It would have been somewhat better if it had been the result of contending with the Demon King, but this was humiliation itself. To end up in this state because of him, who had become human, not even of the Demon Clan. But now was not the time to dwell on humiliation. He needed to recover enough to move his body somehow and return to the heavenly realm with his divine artifacts. Twitch twitch. Ugh. But no matter how much he tried to calm down rationally, it was painful. It felt like this resentment wouldn't subside unless he killed him and avenged this humiliation. It was while he was consumed by such anger. Creep creep. Flinch. He felt something approaching. Normally, he would have noticed immediately, but having lost both eyes and with his core further damaged, he only realized something was approaching when it was very close. Whoosh. That something enveloped him. It was something sticky. What is this? Kuhahihi. Even a creator is no different. When that arrogant pride crumbles, even if it's due to anger, greed overflows. You? From the transmitted will, the Golden Heavenly King could recognize what had enveloped him. It was the being called the Third Eye that he had created. It was Mayhem. How dare an insignificant thing like you? To think you've become so weak that you can't even prevent an insignificant thing from burrowing in. Truly pitiful. Ugh. You. Stop. Stop it. No. How could I? I've been waiting for this moment. An absolute being surpassing even the 6th demon great strength king has crumbled. How could I miss this chance? You bastard. Even with severed limbs and damage to his core, he was still a being almost equal to a demigod. There was strong resistance as he tried to burrow in to control his body. It seemed the difference in will was too great. However, you're no longer an absolute being. Just a has-been king of the heavenly clan who could be defeated by a mere human. Aarg. It was a simple provocation, but it was effective. The crack in his boundless pride was enough to create an opening due to that humiliation. Crack. As the Golden Heavenly King's forehead split open in agony, blood vessels grotesquely protruded from that area, weaving into a round shape. It was becoming an eye. Whoosh. The body of the 6th demon lion-grasping king turned to ash and scattered. Jean Yuren's pupils, who had planted her sword in him, had returned to normal. Along with this, she saw the almost completely burned secret of the heavenly concealed divine path swordsmanship before her eyes. With her mind returned, she looked at the secret with reddened eyes and spoke. Ancestor. The form of Jean Wunwei was faintly visible in the secret. Seeing his brightly smiling figure, Jean Yuren shed deep tears. There was a time when she had resented her ancestor, but now she was grateful that he had helped her and the world until the very end, even breaking some of the natural order. Whoosh! As the secret of the heavenly concealed divine path swordsmanship was about to burn completely, Jean Wunwei's form gradually became fainter. Jean Yuren knelt before him and bowed. Jin Yurin, the last bloodline descendant of the Jin clan, sincerely thanks. Swoosh. Don't do that. I'm an incompetent ancestor who couldn't protect many things for you. So please, from now on, live your own life. With those words, Jin Wunwei gave a light bow to Sima Chuk of the Moon Evil Sword, who was standing behind Jin Yurin. Sima Chuk also nodded slightly, bidding him farewell. Although he didn't know much about immortal techniques, he realized that once that secret was completely burned, they would never meet again. Then Jin Wunwei looked somewhere with concern. I'm worried. What? He finally gained a human heart, but losing a precious bond, I'm concerned and don't know where that sadness and anger will be directed. In the direction Jin Wunwei was looking, Mok Jiangan was in the distance. Although he was watching the world through the secret, he was observing everything around, so he was concerned. Then, recalling Mok Jiangan's strength, Jin Wunwei shook his head. Although their meeting was brief, he believed that man would surely overcome even this sorrow. It's regrettable that fate can sometimes be tragic. To bring loss to a hero of the age. Whoosh. As the secret was about to burn completely, Jin Wunwei bid farewell. Then, farewell. But... flinch. The disappearing Jin Wunwei looked somewhere and hurriedly said something. Quickly dodge. Whoosh. However, as the secret completely burned away, Jin Wunwei's form disappeared completely. No sooner had this happened. Boom. With a thunderous sound that could rupture eardrums, a huge pillar of light shot up from the ground. The pillar of light had a dark red glow as if contaminated, and as it surged up, the ground shook and the earth shattered. Rumble, rumble, rumble. How can this be? He's not dead yet? Everyone looked at the contaminated dark red pillar of light with dumbfounded eyes, and in the center, they saw the golden heavenly king rising with horrifyingly grotesque wings flapping. This resurrected being was giving everyone a feeling of despair as if the sky was collapsing. Young Master Mok? My lord? Heavenly demon? Everyone's gaze turned to Mok Jiangan. The only one who could stop this despair-inducing being was Mok Jiangan alone. But he was consumed by sorrow and suffering. However, no one could urge him to step forward. That's how much his sorrow, shedding tears while beating his chest, was conveyed to everyone. Then the voice of the golden heavenly king resounded. Rise, our only worthy opponent. Let us have our final battle to determine the fate of the world. The end. At those words, Mok Jiangan murmured softly. My story has already ended in tragedy, losing my precious lover. And at that end, even regret remained. The fate of the world or anything else no longer mattered to him. What meaning is there if she's not in this world, even if it's destroyed? Russell. At that moment, the only remaining fragment of ash gently touched Mok Jiangan's cheek. At this, Mok Jiangan's closed eyes opened. For the intangible fragment of her spirit body to touch his cheek. Mok Jiangan looked at Wei Soyan, who resembled Chong Ryang so closely, with his still reddened eyes. Become a grand master who embraces all. Chong Ryang's wish. He thought nothing remained, but her wish was still there. Swoosh. Mok Jiangan slowly rose from his seat. And he turned his head to look at the golden heavenly king, no, the deformed being that had become one with Mok Gan, who was spreading tremendous energy in all directions as if an absolute god transcending good and evil had been born. Strangely, the two beings stained with madness had become even stronger by becoming one. However, Xing. Drawing the evil sword, evil commandment sword, Mok Jiangan calmly extended the blade with a smooth sword intent. Woong 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 woong. Then his blade was stained black with demonic energy. Seeing this, the corners of the golden heavenly king's mouth, who had become one with Mok Gan, rose as if about to tear. The process was never important to begin with. The one standing at the end is the true victor. At that moment, Mok Jiangan took a stance as if about to slash him with his sword. Go. Shudder. At that instant, the face of the golden heavenly king, who had become one with Mok Gan, turned pale. By becoming one, they could temporarily draw out all their divine power as the core recovered, but the capability emanating from Mok Jiangun now was surpassing even that. It was truly supreme capability. No. Instinctively, the two united beings realized. This was already a being that had almost transcended the natural order. No matter how much they combined their strength, it wasn't something they could contend with. At this, the golden heavenly king who had become one with Mok Gan hurriedly tried to open a gate to the heavenly realm, but at that very moment. Whoosh! In an instant, Mok Jiangun reached in front of him. Why you? I cut everything that exists. This is the ultimate sword I can wield. Slash. A single black line was drawn from the sky to the ground. Along with it, space was cut, and a red line appeared from the top of the head of the golden heavenly king who had become one with Mok Gan, straight down along with the pillar of light. Everyone watching was astounded by this tremendous sword that cut heaven and earth. Has there ever been a more perfect and ideal sword throughout history? Crack! As space was cut and distorted, the golden heavenly king who had become one with Mok Gan, about to be split in half, used his last strength to speak. A sword that cuts everything that exists? This is the peerless heavenly demon sword. Whoosh! As those words ended, the body of the golden heavenly king, which was being split in half, twisted into the cut space and was sucked in, then disappeared along with blood-red dust. Swish, swish, swish. As if nothing had happened, the space that had been split from the sky to the ground reconnected, and the world became clean again. Wah wah. All who had been watching anxiously cheered with joy at this sight. Finally, everything had ended. Despite these joyful cheers, Mok Jiangun's eyes were tinged with emptiness and sorrow. Although he had saved the world from crisis and ended all resentment, nothing remained. Except for fulfilling her wish. Mok Jiangun's eyes suddenly noticed Wei Soyan on the ground regaining consciousness. Her complexion was brighter than before. Although her body had been incomplete without the spirit, now that the soul had become one, it was no different from a complete rebirth. Ah! Seeing her, who resembled Chong Ryong so closely, he becomes sorrowful again. Now they'll never meet again. Mok Jiangun, who had been staring at her, then descended to the ground and approached her. Wei Soyan, who had regained consciousness, spoke with confusion. Young Master Mok? Mok Jiangun approached her with a sad smile and embraced her. Thud. And gently stroking her head, he said, I've learned what the most painful things are since becoming human. Although she was bewildered, Mok Jiangun continued. It's the loss of losing someone precious and the regret of not being able to fulfill what that precious person wanted. Young master, you may no longer remember, hear, or speak in there, but I want to tell you this one last thing. I love you. Grip. Mok Jiangun bit his lip tightly, closed his eyes, and embraced Wei Soyan tightly. Her pupils and lips trembled at Mok Jiangun's voice and body heat, full of intense emotion. She didn't know why, but the moment she heard Mok Jiangun say I love you, her heart trembled and her chest ached so much. But at that very moment, swish! A soft light flowed from Mok Jiangun's body and seeped into Wei Soyan. A voice echoing in her ears. The beautiful and shining story of So-woo and me ended then. Now, it's the story of Chong Ryong and you. Along with this, numerous vivid memories flooded her mind. Yes. We'll be together. Even if it's just for a fleeting moment. She was beautiful. So beautiful, like a single red peony. I'm sorry, but I can't let you go. Chong Ryong is already my life. It was all me. Drip. Wei Soyan's eyes reddened, and tears flowed down her cheeks. As Mok Jiangun tried to detach himself from her after conveying his final words, mortal. Mok Jiangun's pupils wavered at that voice from Wei Soyan's mouth. Mok Jiangun's eyes quickly reddened at her face, smiling through tears as if she had missed him so much. When something that can never be achieved is realized through earnest desire, we call that a miracle. The two embraced each other without hesitation and then kissed. Chapter 495. Final chapter. Part 4. 1 month after the Great War at the 10,000 Great Mountains that determined the fate of the Central Plains martial world, late at night, in the former Heaven and Earth Society's Grand Meeting Hall. 2 days before the inauguration ceremony, they were entering the final vote on an urgent proposal that had been raised. The proposal started with something quite trivial. However, it was unexpectedly decided unanimously. The first elder O Cheon-mu, sect leader of the Spiritual Sword Sanctuary, sitting in the highest seat, announced that the proposal had passed. Bang bang. Then, as all votes are in unanimous agreement, we shall proceed as proposed. Oh ho ho. Indeed. The seventh elder Huan Yasian, acting as the meeting's secretary, closed the finalized minutes. Thus, the executives rose from their seats. At that moment, someone sitting opposite approached the seventh elder Huan Yasian. It was the fourth elder Ho Tae-gang, sect leader of the Wave Destruction clan. In all my years, I never thought we'd have a meeting, let alone a vote, on such a proposal. I suppose it shows how sincere everyone is about this new organization. If it's a name that will remain for hundreds, thousands of years to come, it's only fitting. Well, that's true. But it seems you've had a change of heart too. A change of heart? Yes. Even though we decided to unify all martial houses and clans as branch clans, you didn't need to change, but seeing that you changed your shadow clan to the Flying Ghost clan, named after your unique martial art. At these words, Huan Yasian made a subtle expression before answering. Although we were called Shadow because we were in charge of spies and information, shouldn't we now move forward as a martial house in this new organization? Moving forward as a martial house. Is that ambition? Not bad. Much had changed in a short time. Although it took the form of a religious organization, this new group pursued true martial arts without being bound by orthodox or unorthodox paths. It had become the organization he truly desired. All of this was thanks to their lord, the heavenly demon cult leader. But even though the vote was predetermined, why didn't our lord attend the meeting hall? There's an unofficial martial arts competition. An unofficial martial arts competition? The fourth elder Ho Tae-gang tilted his head in confusion. In a sparsely populated plain not far from the 10,000 Great Mountains. The entire area was devastated, and in the center of a huge crater lay a stunningly beautiful woman with blonde hair and 9 tails, sprawled out and breathing heavily as if exhausted. She was the 100-faced King Golden Nine-tailed Fox, one of the 6 demons. The Golden Nine-tailed Fox, breathing heavily, screamed as if frustrated. Aargh! Why has that damned human become so strong? Just a few months ago, he was merely a novice, but now he had become a monster that she couldn't handle even at full strength. Someone approached her and looked down, saying, "That's the 4th time already. Give it a rest." That someone was Mok Jiangun, no, the heavenly demon. He now fully called himself the heavenly demon, having abandoned the name Mok Jiangun. The Golden Nine-tailed Fox, unable to get up, shouted, "Who says I'm doing this for anyone's sake?" The heavenly demon shook his head at her stubborn attitude. Not long after the Great War ended, she had come to him, insisting they were connected by fate and should spend their lives together. Of course, the heavenly demon firmly refused. Angered, she said that if she lost to him in a fight, she would follow his will, and that's how it had come to this. Just give up. I've repaid the debt enough by entertaining you this much. No. 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 It's far from enough. I won't give up until I have you, so be prepared. Be prepared. At her outcry, the heavenly demon chuckled and shrugged, then disappeared. Looking at the faint afterimage of the heavenly demon, she grumbled. Jerk heavenly demon. Wicked heavenly demon. Bad heavenly demon. But still, she wanted him. The more she saw him, the more she yearned for him. As noon approached, the sun moved towards the center of the sky, its rays warmly illuminating the earth. As the inner city of the former Heaven and Earth Society opened, the square in front of the main building was so crowded with people that there was no room to step. with people from the outer and inner cities, as well as invited guests from external groups like the diviner groups including the Harmonious Immortal Pavilion, some from the Yu clan, the Evil Alliance, and others. Tens of thousands had gathered in the square. What's with all these fires? There's fire everywhere? Whoosh! Although it was noon, braziers were placed throughout the square. Because of this, it was hot enough to be stifling. Not only were there braziers everywhere, but there was a noticeably large brazier on what looked like an altar platform. The words "Holy Fire Stand" were engraved on the brazier. Is it not time yet? When does the founding ceremony start? Everyone looked at the entrance of the main building, waiting for the founding ceremony to begin. Then, boom, boom, boom. The sound of drums being beaten spread from the top of the inner city walls. It's starting. Oh. Look over there. Warriors came out from the entrance of the main building in the inner city and spread out a long red silk cloth. Soon, the executives who would hold key positions in the founding ceremony slowly walked out in 2 lines on either side. First Elder of the Spiritual Sword Sanctuary, O Cheon Mu, Profound Realm. Second Elder of the Poison Demon Clan, Bek Saha, Transformation Realm. Third Elder of the Sword Clan, Sword Demon Goe. Transformation Realm. Fourth Elder of the Wave Destruction Clan, Ho Tae Gang, Transformation Realm. Fifth Elder of the Spirit Spear Clan, Gyu Jong Sin, Transformation Realm. Sixth Elder of the Crimson Flame Clan, Lee Ji-yom, Transformation Realm. Seventh Elder of the Flying Ghost Clan, Hwan Yasian, Pinnacle Stage of Peak Realm. Eighth Elder of the Bright Blade Clan, Sun Yun, Pinnacle Stage of Peak Realm. Ninth Elder of the Dream Illusion Sword Clan, Mong Muyak, Pinnacle Stage of Peak Realm. 10th Elder of the Light Martial Path Clan, Seop Chun, Pinnacle Stage of Peak Realm. 11th Elder of the Demonic Fist Clan, Go Yunbek, Pinnacle Stage of Peak Realm. 12th Elder of the Dark Demonic Clan, Hang Yoryang, Pinnacle Stage of Peak Realm. It's the Elders. Wah! A new official system had been announced 2 weeks before the founding ceremony, and this system was decided to strictly verify martial prowess to grant qualifications. The elders coming out now were the martial artists with the strongest martial might in the sect. It was also the strongest force in history, incomparable to the former Heaven and Earth Society. The sect leaders of each branch sect who would lead the new organization, the 12 elders, walked out and took their places on either side of the red silk path, joining their hands and assuming a reverent posture. The atmosphere was incredibly solemn, perhaps because they were all dressed in ceremonial robes. Then, boom, 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 boo-boo. After 5 drum beats and a long horn blast, someone finally appeared at the entrance of the main building. A figure walking out majestically, wearing a black and red patterned dragon robe embroidered with golden dragons. He was the one demon, Heavenly Demon, the world's #1 person and the current pinnacle of the martial world, who would be inaugurated as the first cult leader, founder, at this founding ceremony. Regardless of his appearance, everyone couldn't help but bow their heads at his overwhelming dignity and atmosphere that dominated the crowd. Thud thud. Following behind him, Great Dharma Guardian of the Harmonizing Demon Poison Sect, Gyeong Sao, Transformation Realm. Right Dharma Guardian of the Wind God Clan, Ma Are Hyen, Transformation Realm. Left Dharma Guardian of the Subduing Demon Clan, Ja Jiamjong, Supreme Great Ability Head of the Cult Leader's Personal Guard Unit, Jang Nung Ak, Guard Go Chan, Spirit Servant, walked forward in step. Everyone watched in hushed silence at this solemnity. He passed through the red silk path guarded on both sides by the elders, the highest executives of the sect. The elders he had formed connections with over time bowed their heads and greeted him with smiles, and the Heavenly Demon responded with light nods. Ku. Indeed, my choice was right. Seop Chun, who had become an elder at a young age, looked at the Heavenly Demon with a face full of emotion. He had wanted to rise to the position of Dharma Guardian to be by his side, but as his martial prowess wasn't yet comparable to theirs, he postponed it to a later date. If it couldn't be achieved in his generation, he hoped that his descendants could stay by the cult leader's side. Thud thud. Upon reaching the altar platform, the Dharma Guardians and the head of the guard unit stopped there, and the heavenly demon walked up onto it. Watching his back as he did so, guard Go Chan, who had been able to possess Jang Nungake's body again, couldn't hide his satisfied face, his nose tingling with emotion. Sniff. Who would have thought this moment would come when he was just a vengeful spirit in the heavenly demon's hands? Now he was called the right-hand man of the world's #1 person in name and reality. It could be called a human victory, from a mere low-level assassin. At that moment, the drum sound was heard again from the top of the inner city wall, and simultaneously, the sound of horns echoed throughout the entire city. Boom. 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 Boo-boo. Someone appeared at the door of the main building. A stunningly beautiful woman walking out, wearing a beautiful ceremonial robe reminiscent of a pure white lotus. She was Chong Ryong. In her past life, she was Ryu So Wool, and in this life, Wai So Yun, but now that her soul and spirit had become one and complete, she called herself Chong Ryong. As she walked out solemnly, so beautiful, everyone let out exclamations in a daze. It's the Divine Lady. Truly a beauty under the moon. She slowly walked along the red silk path and climbed the stairs. The heavenly demon, who had been waiting, looked at her with a gentle smile, and she stood close by his side. The holy fire priestess approached her, handed over a torch, and whispered quietly. Divine Lady, please prepare the sacred fire. Tap. Chong Ryong nodded and took the torch. Then the holy fire priestess shouted loudly. Great Dharma Guardian, bring forth the spirit tablet. At her cry, the great Dharma Guardian Gyeong Sao personally carried a pedestal with a crown and a spirit tablet inscribed with heavenly demon decree up to the front of the platform. As the spirit tablet arrived, the holy fire priestess lifted it and shouted. Now we will proceed with the founding ceremony and the cult leader's inauguration ceremony. Wah wah. All who were watching cheered. Boo boo. As the sound of horns echoed long, all who had been shouting became quiet again. Then the holy fire priestess stepped forward, raised the heavenly demon decree, and said, for the founding ceremony, there is a sacred object, this heavenly demon decree made by melting fragments of the sacred fire. Founder and first-generation cult leader Heavenly Demon, received the heavenly demon decree. The heavenly demon stepped forward and received it with one hand. Then he climbed to the highest level of the altar platform, raised the heavenly demon decree high, which would become the sacred object symbolizing the cult leader, and shouted to everyone. The first-generation cult leader Heavenly Demon proclaims. Here today, I declare the founding of the heavenly demon divine cult that will create a myth for 1,000, 10,000 years. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Along with this, numerous flags rose on top of the inner city walls. The square erupted as the majestic flags of the heavenly demon divine cult fluttered. And that excitement soon led to tremendous cheers. Wah wah. Finally, a new martial arts organization was born. Not stopping there, the first elder O Cheon Mu, sect leader of the spiritual sword sanctuary, raised both hands and shouted so that everyone could hear. Great heavenly demon divine cult. 1,000 years. 1,000 years. 10,000 years. Then everyone, including the other elders, followed and chanted. Great heavenly demon divine cult. 1,000 years. 1,000 years. 10,000 years. The chant spread throughout the entire inner city. Great heavenly demon divine cult. 1,000 years. 1,000 years. 10,000 years. Amidst everyone's cries, the holy fire priestess pointed to the brazier of the holy fire stand, holding a torch, and said to Chong Ryong who was waiting, light the fire. At this, she stepped forward and lit the sacred fire stand's brazier. Whoosh. Then, strangely, unlike the red flames of the torch, blue flames rose from within. Oh! The color of the flames? Everyone couldn't hide their surprise at this sight. How did such mysterious flames come about? It was because the fragments of the sacred fire spirit left after making the heavenly demon decree were used to make the holy fire stand. Tap. The holy fire priestess knelt on both knees before the heavenly demon standing in front of the blue flames, crossed her arms on her chest, and recited, This body burns in the sacred fire, with no attachment to life or death. Eliminating evil for good and illuminating the light, joy, and sorrow all remain as mere dust. As she began to recite the scripture, everyone in the square, including the elders, followed, crossing their arms on their chests and chanting the scripture. This body burns in the sacred fire, with no attachment to life or death. Eliminating evil for good and illuminating the light, joy, and sorrow all remain as mere dust. This was originally a scripture passed down from the Zoroastrian religion, or Persian religion. Both the Persian religion and Zoroastrianism worshipped fire, and since the heavenly demon was the incarnation of that, this was adopted as the official scripture of the heavenly demon divine cult. Pitiable are the mortals with many worries. Pitiable are the mortals with many worries. The guests invited from outside had strange expressions at this ritual of reciting such scriptures. From the content of the scripture alone, they felt it was not a demonic path but rather one that revered righteousness. Through this, they could sense that this heavenly demon divine cult had a religious color. Amidst this, Chong Ryong's eyes sparkled. Yes. That's the figure I've been hoping for. The dignified back of the heavenly demon standing before the crowd that filled the square. A grand master who embraces all. It seems that dream has been fulfilled through him. Boom. 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 With the drum sounds, the holy fire priestess, having finished reciting the scripture, stepped back, and it seemed the inauguration and founding ceremony were successfully concluding. But then, tap 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 tap. Suddenly, the head of the guard unit guard Go Chan jumped onto the platform, looked at the heavenly demon and Chong Ryong with a grin, and shouted loudly. Following the inauguration and founding ceremony, the grandest event will be the wedding ceremony of the cult leader and the divine lady. Chong Ryong had only known about the founding ceremony. But at Go Chan's shout, as she was about to be dumbfounded, female attendants appeared as if they had been waiting, carrying a beautiful bridal gown with red and gold patterns. Ah! It closely resembled the one she was supposed to wear in her past life. She was beautiful. So beautiful, like a single red peony. Chong Ryong's eyes soon became moist. To her, the heavenly demon gently extended his hand and said, "Become my bride." A proposal in front of everyone. At this moment she had longed for since her past life. Chong Ryong's lips, which had been trembling, spread into a radiant smile. That night, the heavenly demon divine cult was bustling with festivities late into the night due to the grand events of the founding ceremony, the cult leader's inauguration, and the wedding ceremony. However, the main characters of these events, cult leader heavenly demon and divine lady Chong Ryong, were nowhere to be seen. Where could they be? On a mountain peak of the 10,000 great mountains. The full moon hung in the center of the black night sky covered with starlight. Between pure white flowers softly glowing in the moonlight stood a beautiful man and woman. As they strolled among the flowers, the heavenly demon asked Chong Ryong, "Now that we're married, you should call me husband, but why do you still call me mortal?" "I don't know why." To me, you'll always be mortal." At her words, the heavenly demon chuckled and held her hand tightly, saying, "Then I suppose I shouldn't call you wife either." Chong Ryong. To this, Chong Ryong smiled sweetly and looked up at the heavenly demon. Charmed by her lovable appearance, the heavenly demon gently embraced her back and slowly brought his lips closer. Chong Ryong softly closed her eyes and raised herself on her tiptoes, and the two shared a deep kiss under the moonlight. The bond that began on a mountain peak of the 10,000 great mountains thus bloomed into a shining flower there again after 100 years.